It's been just over 3 weeks on the road now since leaving Cape Spear on the far eastern edge of Newfoundland back in mid-June, and this cross-Canada journey has already been something really special. I grew up in Canada, but I've spent the last 2 decades living abroad, so this trip is really about coming home and rediscovering my own country with fresh eyes. Now I've arrived in Ottawa, the nation's capital. From a distance, I've seen and heard some things about Canada over the years that have been a bit concerning, but headlines only ever tell part of the story. So I'm here to see it for myself, to explore the city, take it in, and see how the capital actually feels on the ground. Let's explore Canada's national capital. So yesterday late afternoon I took the train from Montreal to Ottawa, and I arrived in my 6th Canadian province, Ontario. I'm in Confederation Park, which is just in the downtown area of the city, and so far nice city. But one thing I did notice was last night while walking around to get some food, there was a lot more like homelessness and a vagrant population than Maritimes I saw. Very little of it, and even in Quebec, even a huge city like Montreal, there was nothing like that. But so far in the daylight, the downtown area here is lovely. It's quite nice. So my mission today is I'm going to walk through the downtown area just a little bit, and then I'm going to go visit the House of Commons to take a tour of that area and walk around the Parliament building, and after that just get to near the river, visit a couple of museums, and just walk around this city and take it in, because yeah, Ottawa, let's see what the city has to offer. So we're here right now in the heart of downtown Ottawa, and one of the primary reasons why I wanted to come here was to pay my respects to the trucker convoy of January and February 2022. The convoy didn't start as a political movement, it started as a reaction. And perhaps the most incredible thing about it was that it was grassroots, bottoms up, not top down. It began in late 2021. After a cross-border vaccine mandate, many truckers saw as a final straw after 2 years of shifting COVID rules. With no single leader or master plan, it organized itself in real time, online and on the road. As the convoy moved east, momentum grew, and by the end of January 2022, well over 500 trucks and thousands of protesters rolled into Ottawa. Very loud. Can you imagine 500 trucks in this city, along the streets? Yeah, the intention of the truck convoy coming here was to be a disturbance, a civil disturbance, to protest against the policies of the government. And it was an act that I think surprised a lot of Canadians, because during that time the mainstream media was very much in line with the government at the time in terms of restrictions and the mandates and things like that. So when the Canadian public saw these thousands of protesters come into the city, it was probably a shock to a lot of people to see that there was another part of this country that wasn't having any of it. Once the convoy arrived in Ottawa, the reaction was swift and forceful. The federal government, led by Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland, invoked the Emergencies Act, a move many Canadians hadn't seen since its predecessor, the War Measures Act, during the FLQ crisis decades earlier, which I talked about in an earlier episode. That decision granted extraordinary powers, including the freezing of bank accounts tied to the protest, even without criminal charges. At the same time, the official narrative around the convoy began to enter what felt like clown world, with the government and mainstream media seemingly acting in tandem. We saw a Liberal MP claim that honk honk was an acronym for Heil Hitler, and CBC reporter suggested a possible Russian collusion. Whether you supported the convoy or not, the response marked a turning point, not just in how protests were handled, but in the relationship between government, media, and public dissent in Canada. But there was a lot of other Canadians that were, like me, were very in favor of these truckers and saw them as folk heroes for our country. And from my perspective, if people wanted to get a vaccine, that was their individual choice.
That shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you. Bruh.
Yeah. So I know there's going to be different people on different perspectives of this issue with the different feelings. But from my side, those Canadian truckers who came here that day and stayed here for 2 weeks in the middle of winter are some of the people that make me most proud of this country. Enough politics for now. All right, there's a lot of construction going on here. So we enter through this way, the West Block, the House of Commons Visitor Center. Wait for the tour to begin, which should begin. Filming inside the House of Commons is actually pretty restricted. That's why you won't see much footage from inside. But here's a bit of context. Canada's House of Commons was established in 1867 at Confederation, and it's modeled directly on the British parliamentary system at Parliament of Westminster. This is where elected MPs debate laws, question the government, and vote on legislation. Essentially the engine room of Canadian democracy. Alright, that was a very good tour. So they run the tours throughout the day, but you have to make a reservation online first. Basically, the whole area of Parliament Hill has 3 primary buildings. We have the center block here, which is the home of the House of Commons, and also the Senate, and also a beautiful library, which I wish I could get in and see. And then there's the West Block, which is the temporary home for the House of Commons at this moment, and some offices for some of the other members of Parliament. And then way over on this side is East Block, which also serves as offices and other facilities for members of Parliament as well. So the Parliament building here was completed in 1866. That's a year before official Confederation. Yes. Here we have Viola Desmond. I talked a bit about her when I visited Halifax and went to her grave in the city. Stable and secure. Yeah, these were the bills I grew up with as a young kid. And then they got changed in the 2000s to the more colorful looking ones here. And then finally in the 2010s, here's the next stage of bills. And the $10 one is a vertical one now, which is interesting. I can't get over that $1,000 bill though. Is that a real thing? Canada once had a $1,000 bill, introduced in 1935, but discontinued in 2000 due to money laundering concerns. This is $40,000 right here. Alright, that was a nice little side journey there. So let's make our way out of here. So here we have Canada's Supreme Court. The building here was completed in 1940. However, the Supreme Court was established in 1875. And 9 Supreme Justices serve on the court. And interestingly, 3 of them have to be from Quebec. Not sure how that works. I mean, Quebec has a significant population, but that they're guaranteed to have 3, yeah, it doesn't seem fair. So I'm continuing to walk west beyond Parliament Hill, and I'm trying to find a place. What's the name? Richmond Landing. Richmond Landing is a little park area by the Ottawa River, and from there I could hopefully catch a boat to take me across the river to check out a few of the nice museums in the city. Alright, so made it to the water taxi here. The water taxi comes approximately every 30 minutes. So my next go at it is at 3:50, so 3:30 now. So I got 20 minutes to buy. And down here you kind of see the map. So you could pay $20 to get on the boat all day, hop on, hop off, or just pay a $9 one-way fee. So I'm gonna leave from here in Richmond Landing, and I'm gonna go across the river to the Canadian Museum of History. Well, just waiting here for the water taxi to arrive. Should be coming in about 10-15 minutes. The country's not all that bad. I fucking hated Trudeau and Carney. I don't like them either. I do have to give credit where credit is due, and Canada is a pretty phenomenal place. And its national capital here in Ottawa is quite beautiful. A few things that are not so nice, but overall the national capital is a really nice place to come to. Hi there. Going to the museum. Cool. 100% if you're in Ottawa, you got to get on the river and see it from this vantage point, because it's very nice. And it's gonna take me to the National History Museum. What a complex, what a beautiful looking building. That's Aqua Taxi. And that was my driver, Nolan. Nice guy. And here is the museum. And how Canadian is this? Thank you, geese, for making an appearance in my video today. And here's the box office. So actually today the museum is free for entry at 5 p.m. from 5 to 7 p.m. so the final 2 hours. So I'm gonna get into this place free, which is nice. You could save 24 bucks. Great thing about this trip is I'm learning a lot about my my homeland, the country where I grew up, and I have a much better understanding of its history, and as a result a much better understanding about where it's at now and potentially its future. I've been to a number of other national capitals all around the world, a fair number of them. London, Bangkok, Canberra, Cairo, Paris, just all over, Seoul, Tokyo, but even DC. But Ottawa's national capital site is, yeah, it has to be the most beautiful. Here's the sunset spot today. So we have Parliament Hill, Confederation Building, and also the area directly ahead there is where I caught the water taxi. And wow, look at those rowers. Also of note, straight ahead there is the end or the beginning point of the Rideau Canal. And so this is a canal, if you take it all the way, it'll take you to Kingston on the St. Lawrence River in Ontario. But we're gonna check that more tomorrow and take a little bike ride too. And I got one more full day tomorrow to explore this place. But I also have this evening and tonight to explore some more too. So I'm gonna try to make it to the National Art Gallery. Let's see if I could get up there before it closes in about 40 minutes. Can we get in? Ooh, nice automatic doors. Thank you. All right, I made it. I have 30 minutes to explore this massive National Art Gallery. And I'm just gonna take a quick walk through and yeah, just see what I see. So I'm not really sure where to start. There's a ground level, a first level, and a second level. I'm gonna go up to the top and work my way down somehow. And wow, such a cool design in this place. Contemporary art is always hit and miss. Sometimes it's spectacular, sometimes it's complete horseshit. What is this? Looks kind of cool though. And like, is this an art piece? A string going from one part of the room to the other. That's what we're talking about. Let's see some of the other galleries though. Beautiful. What's behind door number 3? Ooh. Me and my homies after a night of drinking. Wonder where this evening is headed. Fancy with shrimp and wine. And his hand. Watch your hand there, buddy. Interesting how the Europeans do focus more on the face. Success. Okay. That was one hell of a day of museuming. Started off the day with the House of Commons tour at the Parliament Hill, and then went to the Canadian National Museum and here the National Art Gallery. I got a hell of a lot of walking in today. Jeez, my legs are like jello right now. The National Art Gallery was beautiful, really good. Good place to enjoy a day out. Good place to go on a date, I think, fellas. So keep that one in mind. But the National Museum was my favorite place today, just because I am a history and politics guy, and that is my thing. So, camera battery has 6% left. I'm going to walk this way to get kind of the sunset view before I sign off today. So, I'll go as far as the battery takes me.